Hey, I'm Bronwyn. I'm an authentic communication coach, and I'm all about confidence in conflict. Today, we're talking about gaslighting at work. So let's talk gaslighting. First of all, what is it? The term gaslighting actually comes from a film that was made in the 40s, starring Ingrid Bergman. Google it, totally worth watching. But it refers to a kind of psychological abuse, manipulation. Now, I'm not talking about gaslighting in personal relationships. I'm talking about when it happens at work. Gaslighting is when somebody tries to get you to question your own version of reality. Like, am I crazy? Did he just say that? Ouch, that hurt. Am I nuts? Or did he just try and verbally hurt me in front of all these people at this meeting? Those are all signs of gaslighting. So for example, have you ever had someone at work lie? Oh yeah, I'll get that report to you. I'm almost done. When you know they haven't even started it yet? Or how about when they say something that you know is false and they're trying to pass it off as truth? Or confront them about something and they say to you, oh no, I never said that. You imagined it. Or how about this one? Oh, you're too sensitive. I was just kidding. You shouldn't have taken that comment personally. These are all examples of when people try and talk us out of what we feel. Amen, I say to you, my friend, beware of the person who tries to talk you out of what you believe is reality. It's gaslighting. As a coach, I'm always looking at, when we go into a situation, a communications environment, right, where we're communicating with other human beings, there's always two pieces. Managing inside of ourselves, the internal landscape that we all possess, right? Managing our emotions, managing our reactions. All of that is part of the manage in process. And that's what this video is covering today. Next time we'll do manage out, what you say to the world. But right now we're managing in. And if you Google the word gaslighting, all the information you will find is about managing out. But that's step two. Step one is managing in. And let me tell you what, if you have experienced gaslighting, the worst part about it is the feeling of erosion of self-trust. At the core, a gaslighter is counting on the fact that if they come at you enough with just the right thing, you're going to stop trusting yourself. And friends, job one in this conversation is that we are not going to let that happen. Job one, as communicators, as people that know how to stay confident even during conflict, job one is cultivating self-trust. That is the first thing we do. Now, what does that even mean? Self-trust is that instinct that we have where we trust our intuition. We trust our own experience. We trust our own perceptions. Now, does that mean that we are so arrogant that we think we're right all the time? Absolutely not. But it means we do not ignore that little voice inside of us that is saying, something is not right here. Beginning of cultivating self-trust means getting to know what your intuition sounds like, feels like inside of you. Think of a time in your life where your intuition warned you about something. Something wasn't right. Maybe you got into an elevator with a creepy person, or maybe you turned left when you know you should have turned right. What does that feel like for you? For me, the way my intuition works is if I'm in a conversation, if I'm just living my life, I always have this like sort of happy little hum that like is in me. It just, I don't know how to describe it. I just feel good. I feel like a happy buzz in my body and in my heart. And when the conversation turns and things start to feel dicey, that happy hum sort of disappears and it gets very quiet inside of my mind, inside of my body. It's like, you know, when you like walk into a house and it's too quiet, like in a movie it would be like, there would be music, like something scary is about to happen. For me, it feels like silence, absolute silence. And when I feel that way in a conversation, instantly I know that my intuition is trying to tell me, be careful, something's not right here. At this stage in my life, I never ignore that. The problem is most of us go through our lives without ever really developing that kind of rapport with our own intuitive sense. We override it. We try and please people and ignore the alarms that are going off inside of us. Step one to building self-trust is to get to know that voice inside of yourself. Some of you watching this are like, yeah, got it. I know that voice well and I never ignore it. Awesome. But if you're like, I don't know what that voice is, it's okay, but it's time to start doing some noticing. It's time to start looking at your own history. Time to start noticing when your voice said, please don't do that, and you did it anyway, and what were those consequences? Or when did you listen to that voice of intuition, and what benefit did you get from it? That's the beginning of this process. Now, once you get that engine going, the other part of developing self-trust and that deep connection to your own intuition is to spend time. I have a morning practice where I do this, but a little bit of pocket of time every day where all you're doing is just contemplating or journaling. For me, one of the greatest guards I have against being gaslit by anyone is my morning journal practice. And I take my practice from the Julia Cameron School of the Artist's Way, which is every morning I wake up and I do my morning pages. Morning pages are 3 pages that you just write longhand. You do not edit yourself. It's stream of consciousness and you just let it rip on the page. The morning pages aren't designed to be meaningful necessarily. They're not designed to be something anybody ever reads. In fact, burn them when you die. Like, in fact, in your will, when you write your will, be like, burn my morning pages, right? They're not for external consumption. What they are is for you to be able to connect with yourself. For me, it's a non-negotiable. Every day for as long as I can remember, with very few exceptions, I have captured my morning pages. And in those pages, I can start to see trends. I can start to see where relationships are really starting to bug me, trouble me, or get me to doubt myself. I can see when a work dynamic is turning from constructive to toxic. Not constantly talking myself out of how I feel when I'm in my journal. I just feel it and I write it down. And it helps me stay grounded in my own version of reality, which I am entitled to, right? I want you to really think about ways to create rituals in your day where you can come home to yourself, where you can really be with your life, where you can listen to your life. So that's the second aspect to this. The next part of this is too, in the journey towards self-trust, we absolutely have to cultivate time to be alone. Just alone. And for some of us, if you're an introvert, you're like, oh, preach, sister, I'm already like desperate for more time alone, or I love time alone, or I'm really good at being alone. But for some of you watching, you're gonna be like, no, thank you. I don't like to be alone. In fact, I avoid it at all costs. Fair enough. Listen, I get it. I used to be like that myself. The problem is the way intuition functions, it's very powerful, but the voice of your intuition is very quiet. And you have to have space to hear it. And if you're constantly surrounded by noise, if you're constantly surrounded by people, you'll never hear the sound of your own voice. So let me give you an example. When I was in my 20s, I really started to get serious about figuring out what I wanted, who I am, what does my intuition sound like? And I had to literally train myself to walk down the street alone without worrying about, am I okay? Should I be doing this? Is there something else I'm supposed to be doing? Where are my friends? What do they want to do? I was so unpracticed at just knowing what I want moment to moment that I had to force myself to go spend an afternoon alone just to get used to thinking and feeling and acting upon what it is that I want and need. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I think this is something a lot of women struggle with. We're so used to being other-oriented that we forget to figure out what it is we want, what we think, what we feel. I want you to think about, how is your self-trust? If you had to rate yourself on a scale of 1, meaning I have no self-trust, I don't trust myself at all because I suck and I make bad decisions, all the way to a 10, like I am Wonder Woman of self-trust, nobody can get between me and what I'm trying to do, where would you rate yourself? Now listen, none of us is ever at a 10, or if we say we're at a 10, we're probably, because it's going to take us a lifetime to get to 10. But I want you to start to notice where you are in that spectrum and how might you nudge yourself up the ladder towards 10, knowing we'll never get there, perfect self-trust, but how might you create practices that encourage you to get crystal clear about what you think, about what your experiences mean to you, and about what you want today, this week, this lifetime. That is the number one way to guard against gaslighting. I want you to have a fabulous week. I will see you here in 1 week, and we will talk about managing out, what to say, how to confront your gaslighter. And I'll see you next time. Shine on. We need your light. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And while you're at it, let's be friends on Instagram. I'm at BronwynSF. If you want to be on the inside and get communication tips delivered every week to your inbox, head over to bronwyncommunications.com/subscribe. And of course, if you want to go deeper with your communication skills, head over to my podcast, anywhere you find podcasts, Apple, Spotify. It's called 20 Minutes with Bronwyn. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.